Hello, everyone. This is Andres Restart. I am joined by Tucker from Backlog Banter. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I'm here to talk about some Nintendo games. Is there anything more important in my life? frankly,
For anyone.
a couple things, but not too many.
Okay, I mean, like literally, objectively, yes, but it Nintendo inspires us, right? So,
Oh yeah.
we got some Nintendo things to discuss today. Breaking news, right? As the
That's true.
title will be suggesting, we have breaking news. Literally, like an hour ago, this news came out. So, kind of a big deal. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Direct. There's a lot really to still extrapolate from that huge presentation. And what's interesting, Tucker and I had let's call it a minor disagreement, but I think we kind of talked a little bit about beforehand. We might not even really disagree, just kind of how we expressed our opinions about it afterwards. But we're going to have maybe a mini debate about just like our overall feelings on the Direct. For those that have been following me, you know that I grade the Direct in the C range, right? Tucker feels more optimistic about it, but like I said, I think we might actually not be that far off from each other here. So we're gonna talk about that. Our general thoughts after the Direct. This is actually the first live stream since the Direct that I've done. So I wanted to do one that last week, but I'm still dealing with moving stuff. There's like no soundproofing in the room.
Hopefully I was gonna say when I got on, I'm like, that doesn't look like your usual background.
No, new place, but still a lot of stuff that I have to organize and do, and a lot. But anyway, we're going to talk more about the Direct. We're going to be talking about this breaking news. It has to do with Fire Emblem, spoiler. But also we're going to be talking about the Fire Emblem announcement from the Direct. We're also going to be talking about a new Zelda rumor that I think is pretty exciting in and of itself, but I think it has even bigger, more exciting implications. And you kind of think about how Nintendo's been handling the Mario stuff. I think there are some things going on here, and I'm going to talk to Tucker about Metroid, right? Because I remember I brought up to him before the show. Like, he didn't even remember this, but he didn't feel good about the Metroid Prime 4 Treehouse Nintendo Live demonstration, right? And so I was kind of curious on how he feels about Metroid Prime 4 now that we've gotten just a little bit more footage. Not a lot more. I still feel like Nintendo's being kind of quiet about the game, but I'm really curious on how he feels about that. And just, so we're talking about just like Nintendo in general, basically, because I feel like I went through a big spectrum there. We got a lot to get into.
Well, definitely. Because the great part about a Direct is that it gives us an opportunity to talk about everything current state of Nintendo. It is the stuff that's coming imminently. It's the things that they did teases for. It's the slate of games next year. I think that this Direct, to your point of having something about Metroid and having something, obviously there's a little bit of Pokemon in there. Like, they really covered a wide and Pokopia. Well, they had both games. They had 2 Pokemon games.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. So what's the place that in your heart of hearts is, where do you want to start for this conversation? Because we also are a little bit comparatively limited time. An hour and 25 minutes. We gotta cut off.
So what we'll do, right? Honestly, I'm kind of pretty much just going until I feel tired. But what we'll do,
we got Nintendo Prime in the chat.
Hey, Nintendo Prime in the chat. Thanks for reminding me. I want to talk to the chat first, right? To say hello to everyone, see if there's any quick questions that we can get to, and then we'll dive into our general thoughts on the Direct. Well, actually, we probably should talk about the breaking news.
Yeah, sure.
Q&A with Q&A first to start, breaking news, then we'll get into the Direct, and that will probably have us on for a while. And by the time you have to go, maybe I'll close out with some more Q&A.
Sure.
Right before, right after you leave. All right. So coming back to the chat. Hello, everyone. Let me know if everything looks and sounds okay. I'd appreciate that. I think things are okay, but let me know. I'm Just Cody. Is this about the new Fire Emblem mobile game? Yes. That is the breaking news. So we're gonna get to that. Connor asks me, hello, okay, that Direct is something, but okay, do you still want to buy Kirby Air Riders for $70 and the Amiibos for $50 each? And if the Sakurai announces more, then it'll be $670 or $1,000. I don't know if it's going to get that high.
For the total Kirby experience.
I mean, how expensive are the Kirby Air Rider?
50 each. The swappable ones? Yeah.
See, I didn't even pay attention to the amiibo for Air Riders.
At least I'm pretty sure that's true. Though, if I'm to respond a little bit to this question,
Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't bought an amiibo for myself since like 2018, so I'm fine. Like it does not bother me the price of the amiibo. I do think they're high, but it's just no skin off my back because I'm like I got plenty of amiibo. I don't need the ones that you can swap. It doesn't mean much to me personally.
Yeah. I remember this being announced, but I think I kind of just like, it was so many things, and of all the things that I care about, this is definitely like I'm getting Kirby Air Riders. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for Kirby Air Riders, but I'm not getting the amiibo. And this could be $5. I'm still not getting the amiibo.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was $1 I saw in the store, maybe, right? But like I don't even know where I would put it. Like this is it. You guys can see my screen share, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
I don't even see the price on here. So
Connor follows up and says, in the Kirby Air Riders Direct, if there are more amiibo announced for every Kirby character, they will each be $50. Well, yeah, then just don't buy all of them. Buy one that you like or two that you like, and they can swap out.
Yeah.
Don't get all of them. That's a simple answer. If you bought every Smash Brothers amiibo, it would cost you like $1,500. Don't buy all the Smash Brothers amiibo; it won't cost you $1,500.
Yeah. By the way, I just found an article. Like, okay, so yeah, they are $50, right? There is also the Bandana Waddle D one.
Yep.
And
there will definitely be more.
Yeah. So that I just to show you guys both, right? That's the Kirby one, it's the Bandana Waddle D one, and you can take the characters out and swap them.
Mm-hmm.
And given this being made by Sakura, I think you already said it. Like this is kind of going to kind of work like how amiibos work for Smash Brothers. We can kind of train them up, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah, definitely. It's the exact same deck, and even like the same UI and stuff.
Listen, like if I had unlimited disposable income and unlimited space and unlimited time, I'd be like, yeah, let's go. Like, this sounds great, right? Like, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that, like, these are more extensive amiibo, right? Like, they're not just a basic amiibo thing. They come in two big pieces that you can kind of swap with other stuff. Like, clearly, this is like a cash grab, right? Like, let's be clear. Like, the idea, like, you being able to switch characters with different crafts, like, it's going to appeal to the people to the collectors, right? Who want those different pieces, or kids who want those different pieces. But at $50 a piece, right? Yeah, there are two pieces, so I kind of understand the increased price, but it's still very expensive. Amiibos have certainly raised in price significantly. I think even the Metroid Prime 4 amiibo are like
they're 40 each.
Oh, really?
If I'm remembering correctly.
Oh my god. Okay, all right. So I'm looking here. Just a quick Google search. Can you guys see my whole screen?
Oh, the 30? The bike one is 40. That's what I was thinking.
The bike one, I mean, Viola's a sexy bike, so $40, right? But Samus and Silex are 30, like, which is still high, right? That's still high. But you look at it, like, I think, like, the thing about them is that this is blurry, but like it's like a big platform, right? Like Amiibo now they're higher quality, they're bigger.
Yeah.
So
they're more
like
bespoke. Each one is like a very designed thing. They're not all like in the same. And obviously they weren't in the same mold, but like even the bases are different for like everything now.
Mm-hmm. Trying to see if I can find a higher quality image for the Amiibo. Okay, there we go.
Did we get any other Q&A questions?
Oh yeah, I'm just stuck on this.
Okay.
The Silex one is awesome, by the way. If you look carefully, you can see that he's crushing a Federation Trooper's helmet.
Oh yeah.
So like very cool, but also these aren't the most egregious ones, but it's still high. Yeah. Anyway, going back to the chat, because that's just one of a few. Fish got all right. What's the thing you want to see announced that is definitely not getting announced? Y'all are gonna hate me for saying this. Super Mario Galaxy 3.
Oh, I don't think that's impossible though. I think that's
No.
it's a very high chance that's 2027 or something like that.
I think. Hold on. I think there's a 3D Mario coming,
Yeah.
and I think it might even relate to the Galaxy movie. I just don't think it's going to be called Galaxy 3.
Oh, yeah. I I
Yeah.
can agree with that actually. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll share you. I'll tell you more about my theory in a little bit.
Yeah.
Is there something that you really want that's just not going to happen?
Hmm. I think this is something that could and will happen at least with probably in the next few years. But like, I think a new major IP from Nintendo would be like that's kind of my dream thing because
But you don't think it's going to happen soon?
at least not until at earliest like middle of next year. But just because like we have the first half of the year mapped out, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I guess that's still soon. I don't know. But
Yeah.
even then, it's like there's probably so many games they have to announce. I'm not confident that they're going to do one soon. But a big new IP from Nintendo is kind of like my dream thing.
Yeah, we might disagree on this, right? But because I feel like I'm confusing, but I feel like I saw a Twitter interaction where you were like, "Nah, it's not happening." But there's the project, according to Midori, of Legacy from being made by Monolith Soft.
Yeah.
That I would presume is the new IP.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean like an EPD, like an Nintendo internal. The next ARMS, the next Splatoon, right? Like a new internal Nintendo IP. Because Monolith Soft, one of my favorite developers. I can't wait to see what they do when. Even though I love Xenoblade, I think it's time to move.
I honestly feel like what this is, right? Because they were hiring for like this project for several years, right? And then they stopped putting the hiring page up and announced a new project. But then also, we look at all the Midori codename leaks. 5 of the 8 have essentially been confirmed. Technically 3 of the 8, but 2 others are like super likely. And one of the remaining ones that hasn't been confirmed yet is that Project Legacy, which is supposed to be the Monolith Soft new IP.
Great, yeah.
And Xenoblade X Definitive Edition is not that code name doesn't at all match, right? So it's the idea is that they're working on something new, and we assume it's not that far off.
I can't wait. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I think it could probably, whatever it is, I feel like the talents of Monolith Soft, if they just pick a slightly different genre, right? Like it can still have RPG elements, right?
Yeah,
but there's just it really comes down to the genre and the aesthetic. Like if those things are slightly tweaked and it's advertised, probably could become bigger than a 2 to 3 million seller, like maybe 5 to 6. Like I could see that.
Yeah. Especially with the power of Switch 2. I mean, Xenoblade 2 and 3 are 2 of the best, like most impressive games on Switch, but they're still Switch games. They're like they're impressive for that hardware, not impressive generally.
Right.
So, I can't wait to see what they do. That is probably the thing I'm most anticipating hearing about soon. That I'm very confident is coming soon. Like I think that game could even come out next year.
Yeah, I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just because like it seems like Nintendo has a lot, and they're kind of like, all right, we'll put this stuff here and we'll save it. Like if it's not ready next year, it's because they're just like saving it. Anyway, we'll come back to this stuff. Going through the chat, let's see here. Having hope. All I care about is Hyrule Warriors and Metroid. I also care about Kirby and Galaxy 2, but like Galaxy 2, I already have it. Like there's not much to say, right? Like I did the graphics comparison. I'll probably do another when we get 4K footage, and I don't know what else I'm gonna say about it, right? Like that's it. But I'm excited for it. Are you gonna pick it up?
Galaxy 1 and 2?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I've already played those games. So
okay.
It's just very low priority for me in a time that I mean, I know you do play other games, but for me, I'm very much the whole industry kind of gamer. I have major Xbox games coming, major PlayStation games coming, major indie games coming, major third-party games coming. I mean, I do not have time to I like Galaxy 1 and 2. I think they're good games. They're nowhere near my favorite games. And so it's like I don't have time to just replay on my Switch a game that I think is okay when there's so much more to play.
Yeah. I'm very high on Galaxy 1 and 2. They're some of my favorite Mario games. I do have Galaxy 1 on 3D All-Stars already, and I understand that it's not exactly the same. Like, this is a better remaster, but it's still, even though it's a better remaster, like there's better textures, higher resolution, it's still not like a lot better, right? So like, it's hard for me to justify the price to play a slightly improved version of Galaxy 1. However, playing Galaxy 2 on my Wii U is rough.
Oh, really?
It is rough, right? So I would adore playing Galaxy 2 on my Switch 2, where I have the battery cover for my controller. It's inherent. It's just in there, right? Like, let me show you. I have it here. This is my last Wii remote that I have hanging around.
Oh, is it?
I have the batteries just like taped in, right? So.
Oh my god! I mean, that's the gold Wii remote, right?
Yeah.
I was saying, yeah. I mean, the gold one would probably be hard to find, but like, just get a battery cover. That's probably like $2 on eBay.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But I also don't like playing. I like the whole the whole infrared sensor. It's just not a comfortable gameplay experience for me. Right, on my Switch 2 at a higher resolution, a lot sharper, no aliasing. Like, it's gonna look better, lot better. And so that, in conjunction with the comfort of having my Switch 2 being able to play portably or in 4K, like, I'm probably gonna spend the $40 for Galaxy 2, but it's hard for me to justify picking up both when I already have 3D All Stars. So yeah, but let's jump into the breaking news.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the breaking news. I'm going to go ahead and just go to the press release as soon as I find it. I wanted to play this beforehand, but I don't think it's actually out yet. Like, it's going to come out tomorrow.
Bo is playing it. Bo already has.
Oh, he's already playing it? Okay, good. I was like searching on my phone and on Google. Like, I couldn't find it. Like,
it dropped like 30 minutes later, like actually was playable.
Like, probably like right when we started preparing the stream. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, new role-playing deduction battle game for smart devices, Fire Emblem Shadows, now available. The description of the game is interesting here. Fire Emblem Shadows is a role-playing detective battle game that adds a detective element to real-time battles. Among the 3 characters participating in the battle, there is one traitorous Apostle of Darkness. Players choose to play either the Apostle of Light or the Apostle of Darkness, aiming to conquer the labyrinth. After the battle, players vote to determine who the traitorous Apostle of Darkness is, and the result will determine whether they are at an advantage or disadvantage in subsequent battles. The key to the outcome of the battle lies in whether the Apostle of Light correctly sees through their opponent, or whether the Apostle of Darkness can deceive them. So what's interesting about this is it's almost kind of like, have you ever played Werewolf?
Yeah.
It's like Werewolf / plus Fire Emblem, or like Among Us Fire Emblem. Well, I love the concept. I'm in. Like, it's a mobile game, but that concept sounds really fun, and I'm definitely going to give it a try. Normally, I wouldn't be like gung-ho about playing another like mobile game, but this one, I haven't seen the gameplay yet, but I imagine it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting spin. I don't fully understand what that's going to be like.
I want to see it in practice.
But I want to see it in practice. I want to experience it so I understand like how that impacts the flow of battle, what really the goals are going to be tactically, what are the strategies. Also, because it is a multiplayer game and it's like not just 2 people battling, it's more than that. Like, I have never played a strategy game with I don't even think I've ever played a strategy game with 2 players, let alone more than 2. So it's just gonna be a very different experience.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I just don't have too much I can say about this because this is so breaking, and neither of us have played it yet, and there's very little footage or conversation out there that I'm ill prepared to dive any deeper just because I don't.
There's a launch trailer.
Oh, a trailer. Okay.
Yeah, there's a launch trailer.
Cool. Yeah. I mean,
I
might as well
think
watch it.
Nintendo Mobile. Okay. All right, let's watch that. Let's watch the launch trailer.
Cool.
Let me just over that.
Interesting note that this is also Intelligent Systems. This is the Heroes team where they're collaborating with DNA. So,
Wow. All right, can you see this?
yep.
Okay, let me know if it's lagging or anything.
Okay.
All right, and if you can hear it.
We can hear it.
Cool.
A new battle begins. Light.
Bro, it's Breath of the Wild. What's going on here?
Shadow obscures the light. I must choose between them.
Oh,
Trust no one.
no one.
Who is the traitor? You.
Ooh.
No, I'm the one.
Just a few minutes to decide. Real-time strategy meets social deduction.
Huh.
Choose light or shadow. Then take on fast-paced, real-time battles.
Oh,
with two
gameplay.
light and one shadow disciple.
It's very mobile. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
But it's more than simple combat. The Shadow Disciple is secretly a traitor. Will you fight for the light and root out the traitor? Or undermine the light as an
How can you-
agent of shadow?
How can you tell who the traitor is?
Your actions will influence each battle.
I'm very
Yeah.
confused.
And when everyone's true nature is revealed, the real battle begins.
Oh,
Fight
do
each
you
other?
like an actual PvP fight?
I'll make my choice, even if it means betraying everything.
Discover or deceive. The battle begins once you decide. Real-time tactics and treachery. Fire Emblem Shadows.
I think it's just something I'm gonna have to play.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I still don't really get it.
Yeah. But
All
Looks-
right.
looks interesting.
Yeah, at least it's
Yeah.
something different. I respect
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, most of us have access to mobile devices, so we can all give it a try. So
Mhm.
I'll give it a try, and I'll let you guys know what I think probably soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, I think now we can dive into our little debate / just overall thoughts on the direct. So,
Yeah.
Tucker, tell me, like, how did you feel about the direct overall?
I thought that it was one of the stronger Nintendo Directs. I did a little research afterward,
Mhm.
and did some counting and some number crunching on how many first party games are usually announced in Nintendo Directs. And the average, I think, is something like 2.3 games over the entire Switch and Switch 2 generation. I averaged out all the number of first party games
Sure.
announced in Directs, and so it's like 2.3. There's usually something in the middle, and there's an opener or closer, right? That's what you
Yeah.
usually get. And sometimes there'll be something smaller additionally. And in this one, we got 4, and I think there's only been like 1 or 2 directs where there've been 4 new. Actually, technically 5 because also Galaxy 1 and 2. Well, that's then technically 6, but like let's be like a little bit, let's be a little bit fair.
Sure.
And so just on a numbers basis, I think that I think a lot of people are giving this direct less credit than I think it deserves. And then the other thing that I think really sells a direct for me is variety. And what we saw out of this direct were 4 new Nintendo published games announced, all in different genres, in different visual styles, in a variety of IP, on top of the already, I think, diverse and very strong lineup that they already had announced. I was expecting the direct to be much more focused on things that we'd already seen. I was thinking we'd get a 2-minute trailer for Rhythm Heaven, date that for January. A little bit on Duskbloods, a little bit on
Yeah.
more Pokemon, more Metroid Prime. Like they could have really just played the things the hits that they already announced. But they didn't actually. It was mostly new games in terms of what Nintendo brought. And so I was just really impressed by that. The variety I thought was good. The pacing, the presence of third party was strong, not incredibly strong, but stronger than most Nintendo Directs.
Yeah.
And so happy about it from a first party angle, from decently happy from a third party angle. Good variety, good pacing. I had very little to complain about personally as the showcase finished up.
Yeah. So I agree with you in terms of like the sheer quantity and variety. Like that is absolutely the case. And I mean, it makes sense. It was a 60-minute presentation. We waited since April for a general direct, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like
it was the longest general direct ever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, right? Like when you think about that. But and so, from that perspective, like it has to at least be a pretty good direct. And I think it was a pretty good Nintendo Direct. However, the way I graded this as a C direct, like like in my live stream, like afterwards when I thought about it, right? Like even though I liked things in the direct, like I thought about it, I kind of came away thinking this is a C, and then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, all right, C plus. Like it's good, but I don't think it's as good as Nintendo should have done it.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is one, I look at this as, and I saw this as an opportunity for Nintendo to really kind of get us super excited for next year, right? Like I feel like Nintendo hasn't really shown something that tells people, oh, you need to get a Switch 2 for this, right?
Yeah.
Like in the direct, I don't think, like obviously we have Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, but after that, there wasn't anything there that sold us from that perspective. Like we got Fire Emblem, which is a Switch 2 exclusive, but does it look like something that is well beyond what was possible on Switch 1? It definitely looks better.
Yeah. It definitely looks better.
I
I agree that like to the point that none of the Switch 2 games that we saw, Pokopia, Fire Emblem, Yoshi, and Mario Tennis, this was a new game announced. I agree. Yeah. None of them look like things that couldn't have happened on Switch 1. My question would be, what, especially within the bounds of those franchises, what could they even do to make it seem like, oh, this is a Switch 2 game? And even to that point, I think an argument could be made that a lot of, specifically, these franchises, the Switch 1 versions, were games that weren't like, holy crap, this could not have happened on Wii U. Fire Emblem Three Houses probably could have happened on Wii U. Mario Tennis Aces definitely could have happened on Wii U. Yoshi's Crafted World definitely could have happened on Wii U.
Some version of them. Three Houses is one where there's some debate just because of like the gameplay of switching, of transitioning seamlessly between the two styles. But Switch is only so much more powerful than Wii U, right? Like you got to think it would have been possible. And I think that's a valid point, right? And I think the nuance is that, like, I think when people hear C, they're like, oh my god, that is a terrible score. But C in grading is for average, right? And so I think this direct was slightly above average. Hold on, it's actually well above average, right? If you compare it to like partner showcases, direct minis, it's definitely well above average. But I'm grading on a scale of, hey, this is a big general direct we've been waiting a long time for. This is launch year of Switch 2. So my expectations for this presentation were a lot higher. I wanted to do a good job of selling us on Switch 2. And what they did was kind of give us a direct that would have been considered great in years 3 through 7 for Switch 1.
Sure. Yeah, that's interesting. I completely agree with what you're saying. Is that it did feel like something where the console already felt a little bit more established. I think the interesting thing is that I think Nintendo is viewing Switch 2 more of like a continuation.
That's
of
how
Switch,
it feels,
right? It is they're not like, I mean, they comparatively are like pretty hard resetting. Like they're not doing too many Switch 1 games, especially compared to like how many.
Like we thought they would do more, but they've been 3D All-Stars. Galaxy 1 Plus 2 is the first one since Xenoblade Definitive Edition in March, which is insane. That's crazy.
And so I think that that you make an interesting call on that, but I also think that maybe you could compare it to some of those early Switch 1 directs. And outside of that January presentation, a lot of those were pretty weak for first party announcements. I mean, I would say you have to wait until like a full year later to get like after Switch 1 releases to get like a direct that has like a bunch of new games in it.
I think like the thing is, my opinion would change dramatically.
Yeah.
If they closed, like I'm happy Fire Emblem was there, right? I don't want Fire Emblem to not be there, but I kind of feel like if they needed a closer from a series that doesn't sell 2 to 3 million copies, but more like 10 to 30.
Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like they needed like a Smash, Animal Crossing, Zelda, 3D Mario kind of announcement. It doesn't necessarily have to be any of those 4, right? So, and I think that's kind of an interesting thing to consider. Like, I don't go into directs expecting specific things. Like, I mean, I have my predictions, right? And you know, like that. But you know, if I don't get what I want, that's fine as long as there's other things that I want, right? And that's fine. They didn't close the direct with something that I think is like a megaton. Like the biggest thing we know about for next year is Tomodachi Life, I guess. Or
I mean, I would argue it's probably Pokopia. And I think that is actually something maybe people, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I've seen people kind of underselling it because it is something new and we're not quite sure how people are going to react to it. But if I'm just going to use my industry knowledge and my gamer prognostication powers, I think that's a 15 million seller. And so like they announced a system seller. They announced a 15 million maybe plus selling game.
and so maybe that's where it's a little unfair of me to be like, hey, but it's also it doesn't sell Switch 2, right?
Well, that I definitely agree with because I thought it was Switch 1 footage. When we were saying it, I'm like, it's
a Switch 2 game exclusive. It's a Switch 2 exclusive.
Yeah.
But it's and it's actually being made by Koei Tecmo, right? Like, so it's not the kind of game that I would be like, oh, that's the big thing, right? Like,
sure.
Well,
so then I'm curious.
Yeah, I could see it selling really well.
Yeah, I'm curious to dive a little bit deeper into that of these other series that you think, and I do agree, would have been stronger closers and would have bumped the direct up even more, even in my eyes. What is that sort of pool you're looking at of games that like reach that echelon? Because to me, I agree with you that it was missing that and would have been stronger with that. But I also think it's important to, especially with the knowledge that you and I have of each of the teams and their development cycles and things. Thinking about the biggest franchise Nintendo has, I don't think almost any of them are realistic to expect yet. And so that's why, based on my expectations I was bringing into it, I was not surprised to not see them because I'm like, well, yeah, they can't happen yet.
So, I mean, that's interesting though, right? Because I would argue that since we actually waited a decent amount of time to get into the Switch 2 era, they probably should have something ready. And
which ones you think that could be?
Well, just to be clear, I think they do have them for next year. They just haven't announced them yet. Sure. And that's fine. It's fine. Nintendo's being a little weird, but it's not like this is, like I said, it's not a bad direct. I think it's still a good direct. We just don't have like that, oh my god, this is coming out next year game. Yeah. Right? Not yet.
Yeah. It is also interesting to think about the last couple years. Now, not that a Switch 1 first year should be compared to the last few years of Switch 1. But the biggest games some of the biggest games of 23 and 24, and actually also true for 21, weren't announced until their summer direct. So I think your point is more so we need to really wait to see what 2026 is going to be like until the summer direct, which will really next summer's direct.
And I guess the thing is that I'm wanting Nintendo to sell us on Switch 2. And like the other thing is that perhaps the game that's going to sell the most this holiday outside of Pokemon, which is a Switch 1 title, right? Yeah. Even though they're advertising it as a Switch 2 title, is Galaxy 1+2, which are very, very subtle remasters. And so that's another reason why the direct isn't like a B or an A to me, because I think I expected a Galaxy 2 remaster in this direct, and we got it. But it's not an ambitious one. right?
No, definitely not.
And
No.
it's a very high price, right? And
Yeah.
so like
Mhm.
one of the big sells of the direct, I feel like, is a little poorly executed,
Sure.
right? And then another thing that I was looking forward to with this direct is Metroid Prime 4, because from my perspective, Metroid Prime 4 is, from a quality perspective, that kind of big game we're talking about here.
Sure.
But Nintendo didn't showcase it in that way.
Mhm.
And I
No, I agree
understand
with that.
why, right? It's coming out December, so
Mhm.
we've seen how Nintendo likes to handle these things. They don't really jump into like the big marketing push until 4 to 6 weeks afterwards,
Yeah.
right? Like they treated Donkey Kong this way, treated Tears of the Kingdom this way,
Mhm.
right? So I expect the same for Prime 4. I don't think this means Nintendo doesn't care about Prime 4. They've made
Yeah.
a big investment on this game.
There's
And
still
we've
plenty
seen-
of time.
Absolutely, and we do see some signs that they have a decent push, because we have the art book. Then a
Mhm.
week later, there's the 2 Samus amiibos, and
Mhm.
then they have another amiibo wave at launch, right? So they
Mhm.
have multiple weeks where there's already events announced for Prime 4.
Yeah.
So I think the signs are there that they are going to have a big push. We just didn't see that yet, right? And so those two things, like I feel like Prime 4 could have been pushed more, wasn't. Galaxy 2 remaster is very subtle, kind of overpriced. The two big things weren't executed really well in my opinion, and then there wasn't like
Mhm.
the big megaton game to really sell people on Switch 2.
Yeah.
And so with all that in mind, I still think the direct is good.
Yeah.
I just think with the high expectation I had for it, it's just a little bit above average.
Well, here's a question that actually I'm curious to hear your explanation on, because I think your opinion seems to be one that many people do hold. It's like, okay, yeah, the games they showed were cool. Like no one's saying, oh, I wish they hadn't announced Fire Emblem or hadn't announced Yoshi, but is that it doesn't seem to be a system selling level direct, which I think is fair enough.
Yeah.
And I'm curious.
System seller, I think, is the right term.
Yeah.
There weren't any system sellers.
Yeah. Arguably Pocopia, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
My question for you would be, why, especially on like your grading of the direct level, why does it matter to you if the systems are being sold? Because you already have one.
Yeah, that's a good question. Because I want to see it do well.
Sure. Yeah.
As a
And do you
Nintendo
think
fan,
that
I want to see it do well.
do you think that the games they shown will indicate a soft next year or a soft sales trajectory?
So the other thing, right, is that like,
Yeah.
I don't think this direct is a failure, right? Like it's not oh, that's it. They didn't have an amazing direct. We're screwed. Like it's not like that, right? I think they could have done a better job. They still did an okay job,
Mhm.
right? And that's really it. Like I think some people here see and be like, oh my god, you hate Nintendo. It's over. No. I think they're doing fine,
Yeah.
right? I just still think they still need to really put out something huge, not immediately. They have time, right? Like it's still good. Like listen, Switch 2 is still going to probably sell like hotcakes during the holidays.
Yeah.
So it's not like an absolute necessity that there's still going to be that need for that presentation that does have that bigger thing, right? So there's going to be a direct next year that kind of blows the directs we got this year out of the water.
Yeah.
Which would then kind of go to my point.
Yeah.
It would be better, right? So that's my point. Like there's a better direct from Nintendo that they could do, and that's really all
and it might even be coming soon, which is what you're saying. Yeah,
relatively.
Comparatively soon.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to kind of merge these two conversations. The idea that there are these like tentpole games, the system seller games, as you're saying, that weren't announced here, and I want to talk about that pool of games and where I think we might be able to find a little bit of middle ground of the games that we think.
There's something that I think you would agree with.
Mhm.
Could have been at this show.
Yeah.
That would be in that category.
Mhm.
Luigi's mentioned 4.
I agree. Yes, there are 3 I think will come out next year that will be those big games. Either sales wise or impressive wise. As we said, Monosoft new game. I think that's late next year.
That's at least going to be impressive, like from a technical perspective. That would have been like we were like, oh my god, this is like we don't know what the sales would be, right? New IP is kind of hard to quantify that or guess, right?
Mhm.
You would have guessed at least a couple million, right? Just considering the Xenoblade games, would it probably maybe above that, but like from a showcase, that would have been a showcase.
Mhm. And then I think the other one, you're right, Luigi's Mansion 4. I think that's probably going to happen next year, and that's something that, based on the trajectory of Luigi Mansion 3, and also presumably a big bump from the movie happening next year, Luigi being featured in that, will be a 15 million
Yeah,
seller, right?
I mean, Next Level Games has already started hiring for a new project,
Mhm.
right? And their pattern of releases every 3 years.
Yeah.
Pattern suggests it should have come out with a game this year, which
Yep.
just has me thinking, yeah,
It's
they're
gotta be
almost
next year.
done. They got to be really
Yeah.
close. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
and Luigi's Mansion is like historically known to be like system pushers. Like it would have been a
surprisingly so, yeah.
showcase game,
Mhm.
right? So like we're not even necessarily talking about, oh, it had to be Mario, it had to be Zelda, it had to be Animal Crossing, it had to be Smash. There are other options that Nintendo, we know, like just considering what we know from their
Yeah.
development process,
Mhm.
they could have put there.
Yeah. And then the final one that I think we both agree is next year and will be that, but we both know and everyone knows that it's not going to be announced here, is the next generation of Pokemon, which will be revealed on February 20 what is it?
Yeah.
27th, February 27th, 2026
Yeah,
and then it's going to
something
come
like
out in November. Like that's going to be the biggest game of next year.
Top 3 for sure.
Well, I don't mean a whole industry. I mean for Switch.
Well, I mean, I'm not as top 2 for sure. Okay.
Well, what do you think the other one is?
Well, I mean, so if there's a new 3D Mario game, or if there is an ambitious 3D Zelda or an Animal Crossing,
none of those are happening next year. Let me throw that out there. None of those are ready for next year.
You don't think any of them are happening next year?
No. God,
No shot.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Right. So what about the theorized Ocarina of Time remake?
I don't think that's happening next year.
Do you think it's happening?
No.
Okay.
I've been on that train for a long time. I'm like,
yeah.
I just don't know if Nintendo. I know Nintendo sees Ocarina of Time as important. I don't know if that game fits into. But also, I think to that point, I think that would be the 2027 alongside the movie if that were to happen. And so
All right.
that's
hear
why
me
I
out
see
here.
it not next year.
Hear me out here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through trying to convince you that it's real right now.
Mhm.
Right. That's a whole other thing. Right. I think there's a lot of evidence for it, and we could go over that. But
Mhm.
let's just assume, for sake of discussion, you believe it.
Sure.
It is
Totally
happening.
fair.
Right. If it does come out next year,
Mhm.
we're talking about ambitious remake, not like a Ocarina of Time 3D upscale. Like we're talking about like visually, it looks like a modern Zelda game. Maybe there's even some new elements to it to kind of make it feel fresh and new, right?
Mhm.
And they kind of push that as kind of like a big anniversary release, right? Kind of similar to what they're doing with Galaxy 1 and 2 this year, right? Galaxy 1 and 2, Mario Galaxy movie, Ocarina of Time game, and then a movie that we don't have the title for yet that incorporates, it's going to be its own story, to be clear, right?
Yeah.
But perhaps the bringing back some of those core elements, like the green tunic Link, for example, things like that. People be like, oh, that's the game, that's the movie, right? Like, do you think that would be a top 3 seller, and also in that conversation of, sales that are around Pokemon level?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if that happens next year. Now, but again, the balance is, okay, I can concede that it is possible that it happens. I still think that that's 27 as a game that comes out closer to the release of that movie, right? As a early of the year game that's like within a couple months of the movie, or as a holiday game to follow it up, like Wonder was.
So yeah, I mean, actually, what you're saying isn't far off from how I've thought of it either, right? The way I've thought of it is in terms of my expectation, and with release dates, these things are always tough. But my thought process on it is, if this is happening, which I think it is, the window in which it comes out is, the last few months of 2026 to celebrate Zelda's 40th anniversary, because next year is Zelda's 40th anniversary. It will also come out around the time that Nintendo starts to advertise the Zelda movie, very similar to how they're doing with the Galaxy 1 and 2 and the Mario movie now. But also, to your point, it could come out as late as holiday 2027 if it's not ready, right? And it's actually something they use in that following holiday after the movie. Like, to your point, very similar to Mario Wonder.
Yep.
It's either or, really.
Yeah, there's a window there for sure. And I do think that a Zelda project of some kind is going to hit that window. I think everyone would agree with that. I'm just not confident that, especially not a big Zelda game, I don't think it's ready yet.
That's one of the reasons why I think there's a remake in the works, because I don't think we're getting the next open air Zelda. For a handful of years. But Nintendo needs something big Zelda early on for Switch 2.
I agree with that. I think that wouldn't outsell Pokemon. But I think it would. You're right. That would be a system seller. It
Well,
would be in that
Breath of the
conversation.
Wild outsold Pokemon, right?
Yeah, but this is not an open air Zelda.
No,
Like,
but it has the nostalgia boost.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I think this
And-
this could be something that could sell 20 million copies. Is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Sure.
I at least 15.
Yeah.
I feel like.
But
is what
then
it
I
is.
think Gen 10 is locked 20,
Gen 10.
25, 30, right? Like that's a game that has an incredibly high sales cap. The thing I think is interesting, will be interesting to see within the Switch 2 generation, is how they can maintain Zelda's momentum, because even with the sales of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom being the biggest games Nintendo has made, basically, Echoes of Wisdom didn't really hit like crazy, which is unfortunate. I think it's a great game, but like
I think
really
it just came out too late.
yeah, I agree with that. But no, I think that is one that I think that's a perfect, like, we can meet halfway of that could have been that could happen next year. The question would then become, how interested are they in announcing a game like that, like maybe a full year early? Because Nintendo's kind of, oh sure. Do you think maybe like a summer game, or
We're still talking about the Ocarina of Time remake.
yeah, like if that's happening next year?
That's something that I wouldn't think. I would never expected them to announce in this direct, right? That's
Okay. Okay. Sorry,
I
that's
do
what you're
think there's
talking about.
actually an interesting chance that it could be announced in the earlier direct next year.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
So I brought this up to you before the stream started, right? So for those who haven't heard, there is a rumor, right? And this is not coming from a place that I normally follow, so it's hard for me to speak to the credibility.
Sure.
But it's coming from the Brick Tap community, who are known for leaking like Lego stuff. Which, by the way, if you follow Lego stuff at all, Lego stuff leaks left and right all the time, like accurately, right? This is not like this is the kind of stuff that when it gets out there, it's usually true, right? That's kind of the thing, but still take it with a grain of salt. The rumor is that there is a Zelda Lego set. And it's code number, I forget the exact code number, but it's like one after the Deku Tree Lego set that has both Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, right? That's already announced, it's official, that's out there. But now apparently there's another Ocarina of Time Lego set coming, just Ocarina of Time, based off Link and Ganondorf fighting each other from Ocarina of Time, and it's supposed to come out next March. So if the moment Nintendo starts putting out like Ocarina of Time like Lego sets, I'm like, okay. When you got multiple Ocarina of Time Lego sets, Ocarina of Time, like it's interesting because you look at how Nintendo kind of built up to like the Mario movie. They started introducing more Mario Lego sets. I do think there is a correlation here, and that's not the only reason why I believe in this remake, right? That's just like another little thing,
No,
right? But
you've been talking about this for like 2.5 years.
yeah,
so,
you know, right? There's the Onuma interviews, right? There are some rumors that have come out to support it, right? But at its core, it was always a theory that we found more and more evidence for, right? But if this rumor holds true, we're getting like just it's not even like it would just be a straight up Ocarina of Time Lego set, right? Which is very curious, right? To happen in Zelda's 40th anniversary year, where we think there might be a game coming out at the end, right? Like I would think that if it comes out in March, maybe there's a direct happening in February, right? And they're gonna want to have at least one kind of like big thing there. It might be that, especially if Nintendo has other plans for the holiday, because you mentioned the whole idea of like Mario Wonder coming out, the Master of the Mario movie. Well, what if Nintendo is waiting to show off the 3D Mario game to come out for next year's holiday?
Sure.
Right, and that's something they probably wouldn't announce until summer, like after the Mario movie comes out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So
I think any order of that makes sense, right? You announce it in February, you start showing the trailers, in front of the movie or whatever. Like, because one thing I've noticed just going to the movie as much as I do is that there are now like sometimes one like just unrelated advertisement at the end of the trailer block before the movie starts, and Nintendo can pay out the back ass to get like a big trailer for their game right before the movie starts. That's, I mean,
dude,
that's
imagine this. We're going to watch the Mario Galaxy movie, right? And in there is a commercial for Ocarina of Time remake on Switch 2. Like, that's just kind of, And what's crazy about that is if they then announce a movie later, we already know the movie's coming. They give us more details on the movie, and the movie's like has some of those elements. Like they're kind of like all this cross promotion, like the mainstream will be talking about these things.
Oh yeah. Well, what I'm really curious to see is, especially with these next two movies, how much the games and the movies will synergize. Because I was actually very surprised how little the Mario movie, thematically and like aesthetically, synergized with the games around it. Like Mario Wonder was in development long before. Like there wasn't like Wonder elements or like
Sure.
I thought maybe there would be a 2D Mario game that looked more like the Mario movie. Like that was the headspace I was in, and they didn't do that. And so I'm just curious to see if they change that or if they really even care. Because I think Nintendo more views these IP as the IP, right? And they can just release things around it, and it all counts in their mind.
I feel like it's a little bit of that. I mean, we saw that there was just like an across the board Mario game sales boost because of the Mario movie, right? So I think Nintendo's already observed that that's the case. However, right, there is a reason movie video games come out, right? Like you see all those licensed games because people get excited for the movie, also want to buy the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so Nintendo has just announced Galaxy 1 and 2 and then also the Galaxy movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most this is the most like strong obvious connection they've ever done.
I would say maybe the only other competition is the Donkey Kong theme park and Tropical Returns HD, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Because they have the exact same like key art for the park and for the game.
True. But what's also interesting, right? We theorized literally for years that the new 3D Donkey Kong game being made by the Odyssey team for years would be tied to the release of the Donkey Kong Park. Yeah. And it absolutely was.
It was.
The way Nintendo, the way if you just look at like Nintendo's announcements, you'd be like, oh, I don't know. But then like, it all happens like within a few months of each other. Yeah. Which is it's crazy, but like they do have these cross promotion plans. I feel like it's pretty well documented. You look at how they handled Pikmin, like there are signs, right? So we look at if this Ocarina of Time Lego set thing is legitimate, that's just one more thing on top of the bevy of things that I'm like, all right, I believe this,
Sure. Yeah.
Do I think they're going to call it the Ocarina of Time movie? No. I definitely don't. But like,
it's probably just going to be called The Legend of Zelda.
Probably The Legend of Zelda, but it's going to be Link in a green tunic. It's not going to be Breath of the Wild Link.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's going to be important to have a game like the remake to reestablish that core foundational design of Link.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, because obviously historical iconography wise, Link in a green tunic is Link, but popularity wise, that's not even close. Breath of the Wild Link with the ponytail and with everything that comes with that is actually the more popular version of the character. And so they actually do have to do some refactoring of that IP if they are going to go the route you're saying, which I think is very likely, to drill into people's mind that this more traditional Hyrule is something that is still worth cultural investment.
So then you start doing the Lego sets, right? You have the announcement of the Zelda Park, right? And it all features Green Tunic Link. You put out a game, Green Tunic Link. And then the movie's like, oh, here's the trailer, Green Tunic Link. So I think they have a plan here. We'll see exactly how it materializes, but I think something to that. But anyway, coming back to the Direct, right? Like thinking about it, this Direct wasn't going to have the Zelda thing. I didn't think so, right? Yeah. And I was unsure about the Mario thing because I wasn't sure how they would handle the Galaxy 2 remaster. My thought was, okay, if the Galaxy 2 remaster is simple, like it is, then sure, they can tease 3D Mario. But if the Galaxy 2 remaster is a little bit more ambitious, then maybe we're talking about waiting even longer for the next 3D Mario, right? Except the thing I didn't really think about is that, well, maybe they want us to just focus on the movie right now. Because if they had also teased the 3D Mario game and the Galaxy 2 remaster and the Mario movie,
that would have been a lot.
They got to space it out a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's probably how they were thinking about it. I think they view Galaxy 1 and 2, the game pack, and those games being released, period, this year, as a much bigger deal than I think, frankly, even the Nintendo community does. Because I think a lot of the hardcore Nintendo community members focus so much on that price, which fairly so. I think it's very overpriced. But Nintendo doesn't give a shit about that. They're just looking at it and be like, holy God, we're going to make so much money. I honestly think, and I've just been doing like a little bit of mental math, I think this is going to be the highest return on investment in terms of like effort into a project to sales potential that they've ever had in like the entire history of the company. Because like they made that like that emulator like for Switch structure 5 years ago for 3D All Stars. And like they touch it up a little bit, they get some jackass to write a couple pages, and they're like just scored it out into the Switch. Like, and this thing's gonna sell like over time because it's not limited. This thing's gonna sell 15 million copies.
Yeah, the only thing that I think kind of holds it back is the fact that Switch 2 did just come out, so there not that many people have the system yet.
Sure.
And so, you know, I mean, 3D All Stars came out in what 2020, right? So Switch had already been out for what 3.5 years. Yeah. And this is after the Animal Crossing spike, after the COVID spike.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people out there that could have that you know it made sense for people to pick up 3D All Stars. Switch 2 is doing very well. It's selling ahead of pace of Switch 1, which kind of was always a given, right? It's really more so like how if it maintains pace, right? Like that's the real tell of how successful it's going to be. I mean, you know, people are probably still going to pick up Galaxy 2 for a long time, especially with the movie coming out. Like, and that's an interesting point. Like, I kind of feel like Galaxy 1 and 2 on their own, maybe they lose a little bit of the evergreen push because they're just basically subtle remasters of old games. But you have that movie out there. That movie's going to be there. Is always going to be relevant. Oh yeah. And with that movie out there, more and more people are going to come back and play the games. So. You may be right. It's definitely going to be in that conversation for one of their cheapest investments, but greatest returns. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm also especially just glad, like, even if I'm not going to buy the Galaxy games on Switch, I'm glad it's not limited, because then now we just have Galaxy 1 and 2, two of what many people consider the greatest games of all time, available on modern hardware for the foreseeable future.
And so here's another interesting thing about that, right? Because there is no Wii NSO right now, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But
that's next.
Next, but that could be years from now.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Right? Forever.
Exactly. But 3D All Stars is not available. Okay. However, Mario 64 is already available through NSO. They have the GameCube NSO now, so they can eventually introduce Mario Sunshine.
Sunshine's not. I don't think it's one of the announced ones, right?
I don't think so. No,
I don't think. Yeah,
but they can eventually, add.
And they will. No, they will.
Right, and so Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2 will all be available in some way without limitation on Switch 2, which is great. We didn't have that before, so it's kind of just like the beauty of announcing Galaxy 1 and 2 as a bundle or as separate digital releases when you already have these NSO options. So that's just kind of a thought that just occurred to me right now.
Yeah, because what it means is that, though it's annoying that 3D All Stars isn't available, it functionally is not that big of a deal.
No, not anymore.
Yeah.
I do want to use this as kind of a good segue, though, because I've been thinking about another potential bundle that could happen, and that's Galaxy. I was going to say Galaxy 2 and 3, Prime 2 and 3.
Oh, sure.
Right. I know a lot of people have given up on it, right? But I mean, my kind of thinking has been pretty consistent for a while, and it's that they would come out not too long before Prime 4. And the thing is, Prime 4 is just taking longer to come out than we thought. Right, Prime 4 is coming out this December, like the very end of the year. I speculate that if it's happening, right, they would be announced probably during a Metroid Prime 4 Direct or around that. Late October, early November, which is where we see the release of the art book of Metroid Prime 1 through 3, October 28th, the last week of October, and then we also have the amiibo coming out the week afterwards.
Yeah.
So I feel like if there's a time, it's that late October, early November window. That's when it would happen, which would be a month away from Prime 4. It's not exactly like the Pikmin 1 and 2 situation, because that was like 2 weeks before Pikmin 4, but it's similar. It's a little bit more time, and Prime 2 and 3 are bigger games, but it's a little bit of a healthier window, so people who pick it up can play those. They have time to get through those before Prime 4 comes out in December.
I agree that it's possible,
Right?
but also given the amount of games Nintendo has coming out in that window, bigger games, I think I've given up hope, frankly.
Well,
but
I get it, but I also don't think these are going to be like ambitious projects. They're going to be super simple remasters, like literally Galaxy 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I guess it is possible. And to the point that you were making, the reason why I've always thought that it's possible and even likely that the games come over is Nintendo is very invested right now in making sure their games are available wholesale. Like they're really starting to get like the greatest hits from every Nintendo franchise available on Switch/Switch 2, which is one continuing ecosystem. And it's weird, frankly. It's weird we didn't get Prime 2 and 3 in April, right? Like what? Like if because I guess the thing is like if those games are real, like you drop them first half of the year and there's no downside. I do think there is a little downside to dropping it in an already crowded holiday season.
Yeah. That's kind of like, and it's actually interesting. Like I remember, a lot of people that were very doubtful that Nintendo would come out with like multiple games in the holidays, and we have arguably 6, but I'm gonna call it 5 already, right? Mm-hmm. We have Galaxy 1 and 2. That's the arguably 6, but let's count it as 1. Mm-hmm. October, right? Then Legends ZA, still October, right? Then we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Then we have Kirby Air Riders, and then we have Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, all
separated by 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah,
so that's 5 pretty big games in a 3-month span.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy.
Did you see this this graphic that I made? I'm going to send it in the private chat here. That Bo ended up sharing on his Twitter. This is just a cool way for us to kind of summarize everything we talked about.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let me
talk a little bit about
it for everyone so they can see.
Yeah.
By the way, I see I have some super chats. I will get to those. Switch 2 has no games. This is in quotes, meaning he's just quoting someone.
Yeah.
Right? Actually, this is probably a little bit. Oh, that's a huge. Whoa.
Yeah, I made this HD, bro. I made this as HD.
HD. This is 4K, maybe. It's very high resolution. This is very high quality.
Yeah, I'm really proud of this.
Oh, you should be. It's awesome.
It took me like 5 hours to make this because there's a lot of these things where I had to I had to figure it out and make some PNGs of some of the logos and stuff. But yeah, so this is the Switch and Switch 2 exclusives for 25 and 26.
Yeah, I mean, so the beginning of the year is extremely light.
It's bad.
Right?
It's the worst first half of the year. It's the worst half of the year that Nintendo's had in a decade.
Yeah. But then starting in June, Mario Kart, we have the NSO. I mean, dude, I think they started off so strong with the GameCube stuff. Soul Calibur, Wind Waker, and
Strikers.
Strikers that came out after, but soon after.
No.
The starter was
F-Zero.
F-Zero GX.
Yeah. F-Zero.
And then Strikers came out soon after.
You're right.
And we just got the Chibi Robo.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's cool stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if they just announced another one randomly soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we had these right day one.
Yeah,
not that I care that much, but
I mean, and you'll see that here I have low impact games in this
smaller
quarter size. I have the high impact games in the much wider size, and then I have
but
new games, but new games that aren't ports or whatever in this kind of square size, half size.
I love that. There's the attention to detail in this graphic is awesome.
Yeah.
This looks like an official Nintendo graphic.
Yeah.
Someone should pay you for this.
And I use the this Switch kind of bubbles thing in the background as and I blurred it out. I'm proud of that shit.
It's so good. I love it. But yeah, this was their day one lineup right here,
Yeah,
right?
those 5.
Nintendo published things, right? This doesn't include third party stuff. Bonanza, that's a heavy hitter. I didn't even realize. I don't even know what this is.
It's a mobile and Switch game.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay,
bad.
which means you can play on Switch too, but
Yeah.
it exists.
It is a Nintendo published video game.
Yeah,
It's not a good game,
but it's a game. It's a game. It exists. Dragon Drive is also apparently not a good game, but I liked it. I bought it. Yeah.
Well,
It's an interesting conversation. This one.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an interesting little window there because also like Jamboree TV wasn't very good either, from what I know. I haven't played it myself, but it is interesting that Nintendo, like their ceiling for general quality and like what people seem to be enjoying, like that July period, and arguably through, people aren't super
October.
jazzed about well, true, yeah, people aren't super jazzed about Starcrossed World or Emerald Rush. Like, there's definitely some weaker.
I haven't played it yet, so maybe I'm wrong, right? But I feel like people are poo-pooing on this too much.
Oh yeah, I haven't played it either. I don't know.
I mean,
it just didn't look interesting to me, so just
okay. But I mean, going back to my point about the direct thing, right? Like another element to it is like there is this pretty weak gap of time since Bonanza. Right, like we don't have a public. We have this is DLC, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a published title, in September where we've always had a published title in September, right?
Yeah.
And it's following a pretty weak August.
Yeah.
Because this is not a big. To be clear, like Dragon Drive is not a huge title. It's an eShop title. It doesn't have a physical release. It's a small budget, cheap title, and it did not review well.
No.
Right, so it's like a double whammy there. And to your point, yeah, Jamboree TV wasn't like a game changer. Starcrossed World is good.
Yeah.
But it's it's DLC. At the end of the day, like most of DLCs, like their impact is relative to how much that game is selling, right? And Kirby came out years ago.
Yeah.
Bonanza, I would say maybe it's a little bit a bigger deal than Starcrossed World.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
But even then, it's a DLC that's not like it's not a massive DLC expansion. It's kind of a small thing, a nice small thing, right? But it's also, not being celebrated by that many people. Yeah. And I just think like they had a weak first half basically, right? Not counting June, and June was strong, July was strong, but then August and September very weak, which is just kind of strange for the launch year of their new console. Now. And this is why you brought it up, right? Because I just talked about how they're closing the year strong, and they are. This is huge, right? It's also October 2nd, so it's like it's almost September. Like, big deal, right? Grand scheme of things.
Wait, that's in a week, bro.
It's in a week, bro. Exactly. Like
that's crazy.
Time is flying. But then, and that's the other thing. Like, Legend of ZA is only a few weeks away, which just blows my mind.
Oh my god, right? I can't wait, dude.
And then
Hyrule I played it at PAX.
Yeah, no,
I've actually played.
Today. Like
I've played every one of these games this year except for Hyrule Warriors, because that's the only one they haven't demoed yet. And I played Air Riders and Metroid and Pokemon, and I even played Mario Kart and Bonanza and Dragon Drive early.
Wow, I'm a little bit jealous. I wanted to go to PAX this year, but I've been in the middle of this move, so I feel like financially.
That wouldn't. But yeah. I'm really excited for ZA. It seems pretty cool. And I'm also, I'm starting to get really excited for Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I myself, like when it was first announced, like I was like, oh, I feel like this should have come out 2 years earlier or something, Yeah. But
I think Power of Switch 2 is really going to help it. Like I think it's going to help it feel like a substantially different game, just because it's going to look and run so much better.
Well, they finally showed more than 7 seconds of 60 FPS footage.
Yeah.
So the game's running at a clean 60 when it's one player. Split screen is 30, but that's kind of expected. I mean, I do kind of. Once you look at the 60 FPS gameplay, you're like, oh, okay, everything like it looks good. It's a good looking game. It's basically maximizing the potential of what Calamity could have been, right? Or like the Breath of the Wild style. Like it's
Yeah.
the best looking. It's the best looking Breath of the Wild style it can be, right? And I think there's some interesting like lore implications here. Like I'm definitely more interested in this game now than what I was a few months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, even though like I don't like, I'm not super into like the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom story. The fact that it is a canon of it's canon events, that is just a nice cherry on top. Because I never even really got around. I never got around to playing Age of Calamity. Because and then you hear that like it's this weird like side story, not actually canon. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, I think we thought it was me canon at first, and then it was well, curveball. It's not.
Yeah,
it is, but it's not. They might still pull that off here. So I'm
who knows?
I'm tempering my expectations in that regard. However, something I've been kind of harping on, right? Age of Calamity actually had several teases for Tears of the Kingdom. We weren't sure about it until Tears of the Kingdom came out. Like they teased like Tulin being the Sage of the Winds and like all that stuff. I don't think there's another wild style game coming out after this, but I do speculate that there might be some subtle teases and setup for the Ocarina of Time remake because this is a story centered around the sages. The sages were a big part in Ocarina of Time. We have Rauru, right? This is another Rauru, but there's only two. So like there's just some interesting like lore setup that can be there. There's also the witches, Kotake and Koeme, right? Ganondorf's attendants. They're in Tears of the Kingdom, and they're in this game. So they had no dialogue in Tears of the Kingdom. We just saw them like hanging around Ganondorf, right? But they're going to be in this game. They may have like actual story and dialogue. So we're going to learn more about the witches in their prime, right? Which may also extend to, okay, so this is where the witches came from. This is who they were when they were in their prime. And in Ocarina of Time, we see them as old lady witches. So like there's some interesting like lore potential connections maybe set up here. So there's a lot of reasons why like I'm eager for this one.
Yeah. Also just to note, I think that the Warriors games over especially the last couple have gotten a lot better. Apparently Origins is really excellent and a very big step forward for that series. I mean, I thought Three Hopes was a phenomenal game. I really love Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. So they're really taking some steps forward to they're not just churning these out. They are thinking them through a lot stronger than they were even just a couple of years ago. Yeah.
No. So. I mean, I think they struck gold with Age of Calamity, and since then they've kind of been doing these more series-related like games, and they've definitely done wonders with those. What's your how do you feel about Kirby Air Riders?
I played it at PAX. And I thought it was bad. I thought it was no fun at all. I also think the original isn't fun for context. I don't like that game. And I thought this was, it felt very samey. It felt like very little was changed. In 20 years since the original, it felt like I was playing a janky GameCube game. I mean, it obviously looks a lot better and runs great, but design-wise, like the speed felt wrong. The controls felt wrong. We didn't do race. To be clear, we only did City Trial. That was the only thing that was available. And I thought City Trial was quite poor actually. The map didn't feel tuned to the speed you were going at. The like turn radius of the characters is weird. Picking up those like little power-ups is like, it feels very random. Like there's no like real strategy to it. I did not like the game, but I'm willing to give it a chance in a full game. I'm going to buy it and give it a try. But poor first impression. So,
okay.
Unpopular opinion, but poor first impression.
Yeah, I'm high on the game, but I've definitely, at least from like most people that watch my channel, right? And I want to be clear on that. Like, there's different, like for example, like I make Pokemon videos and they usually do poorly, but Pokemon has a huge audience, right? Like, so the audience that watches me, not super high on Kirby Air Riders, even though I am. Maybe that'll change with the next Kirby Air Riders Direct, right? We'll see. But it is interesting. I will tell you from what I've seen and analyzed, I feel like the actual racing, might be better
Sure.
than City Trial this time. We'll see, right? But that's kind of what my pulse is, and I feel like there's actually a lot of tracks that they haven't revealed yet.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So like people saw like 4 or 5 tracks and like, oh, that's it, that's all there is. Like, that's not how this works.
No, I mean, we know there's a second showcase coming, and I think this really has to be where we understand the scope of the game, because I don't know how you felt about it, but I thought that first Sakurai Presents for Kirby Air Riders was pretty poor. I thought that it was way too little information for as long as it was.
Are you an anime fan?
Yeah, I like some anime.
When you watch anime, do you watch it dubbed or subbed?
No, it depends. Like, I watched Dragon Ball dubbed, but I watch other things subbed.
Okay, all right. I was only asking because I didn't even realize it, right? Because I watch most of my anime subbed, right? But I agree with you on Dragon Ball. Like, I've watched this Dragon Ball subbed, but I agree that the dub is pretty good.
Yeah.
Most dubs though, it's not even the dubs are bad with anime, because I think they've gotten better. It's just the Japanese version is better, usually.
Mm-hmm.
The acting's just better. Like it usually is. Anyway, I only brought that up because the Air Riders Direct, there was no dub. It was just, I mean, there's just in Japanese with subtitles.
Has there ever been for a Sakurai Presents? I don't think so.
I feel like
the Smash ones are always. I think they're always just.
We could double check this. I feel like they were, in English.
Yeah, it might have been. Or...
Sakurai Presents. Which one?
Terry. I like the Terry one.
All right, Terry. Sakurai Presents Terry. All right.
Hello, everyone.
There you go.
Oh, you're right. Oh no, you're definitely right. I recognize that guy's voice. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think that didn't help a lot of people, because Nintendo may have underestimated in that case how much people care about.
Your mic's being a little weird right now.
Is it? Oh, is it
okay?
maybe
It's back.
Because my hand was in front of my mouth.
I think that.
Okay. Fun. Yeah. But yeah, I think Nintendo underestimated just how much impact.
Sure.
Like just a lot of people don't like watching subtitles. Like, not everyone's a big anime fan that watches things in Japanese and just used to that. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't keep up with this. There's too much going on. And in fairness, there is a lot going on with Kirby Air Riders, right? So, like, I can understand how, some people who aren't used to it would be like, oh, this is kind of a weird show. So, like, maybe that kind of impacted the overall reception of this game, just because they mishandled the Direct. Purely by not putting a dub.
Okay, hold on. I just saw something crazy.
Oh yeah, what is it? Another more breaking news?
No. Can you guess how many views the Kirby Air Riders Direct has?
Which region?
The US one.
3 million.
It's 2.1. I mean, that's still crazy though.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
It's a lot of freaking views.
Can we think of like a comparison? Like the Bonanza Direct had like 5 million views, I think.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
I think
so. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, but I think we agreed Bonanza's bigger than Kirby, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
but whatever. I mean, I don't know. Kirby's cool, and I think it is good for the variety. And I'm also just glad that Nintendo's willing to do another decently budgeted racing game, because I think they've just been resting too hard on Mario Kart for such a long time. I mean, think back to like, or like for me, my favorite is Excitebots. Like, I would love Excitebots to come back,
or just Excite something. Yeah. Or I loved Excite Truck. It was such a good launch title for me.
Or Diddy Kong Racing, or like new brand new F-Zero. Like, dude, there's so much they could do.
They're all so different from each other, right? Like I agree.
But yeah, and then that brings us to Metroid. We don't have very long, but we can spend our last couple minutes, unless you want to do super chats and stuff before we have to go.
Well, we don't have to spend too much time. I mean, I talk about Metroid Prime 4 like a lot on this channel, but what were your thoughts on the most recent trailer? Like, how are you feeling about the game?
I thought it was cool. I thought it was the best trailer.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I think that the idea of having this new gameplay element of Viola and having the potential of a little bit wider exploration in these open areas is really exciting and makes me feel like the game is more ambitious than they'd shown in the other trailers. I think the other trailers felt very traditional, which is fine and has its audience, but didn't speak particularly
Sure.
strongly to me, because I was always looking for what is the thing that sets this game apart, right? This is a 20 years later sequel from the last time they made one of these games. I was looking for that new element, and it's Viola. It's these open areas. So I thought it
think
was
that's
great.
part of it, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's interesting that you feel that way, right? And so what I've kind of noticed, and it's hard to quantify this, right?
Yeah.
But even though I feel that they could have done more with that trailer,
Mhm.
right? I also think, there's something I'm noticing, right? I feel that the energy around Metroid Prime 4 conversation seems to have increased recently. And
Mhm.
we see, I mean, listen, things from the direct in general just selling out, right? But like Prime 4, current on Amazon, is the #1 bestseller for Switch 2 games,
That's
right?
awesome.
All the amiibos are selling out. All the different Prime 4 bundles are selling out.
Mhm.
That's all good news. Those are all good signs. It doesn't guarantee the game's going to sell 20 million copies, right? But it's certainly a good sign that there is a demand. So it's interesting, right? And like, you're not the only person I've heard that's had a similar opinion. Like, there's a lot of
Mhm.
people who weren't high on Metroid or weren't sure, and they saw that and like, oh, that's cool.
Mhm.
And it's something I've been trying to like really sell to people before they showed this trailer. I was like, hey, listen, like Metroid is a big adventure game, and I think Nintendo wants to do that. Like, that's why I kept focusing. Hey, look at this key art. There's a giant desert there. They're gonna show this off at some point, and you're not
Dude,
gonna walk.
you're so right about that. Oh my god, dude. I love
It's
that.
Yeah. I mean, what was funny though is it was hidden in plain sight. It was
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
right? And it's interesting. Like, I saw some people complaining about the graphics. I mean, listen, I had some minor criticisms about the desert graphics too, but I think we got to keep in mind this is 60 FPS gameplay, even on the Switch
Mhm.
1. So it's an open environment at 60 FPS. I also think it probably doesn't look as bad as some people are thinking.
Mhm.
I think like when you actually like get there, you still see like there's still like high resolution textures on the environments, and there's some there's still stuff going on. It's a desert, so a desert's not going to have as much going on as like a densely packed forest with trees and vines and rocks and plants all on your face.
Yeah.
It's just a different look.
I just don't think there's
yeah.
anything you can really do to make a desert feel crazy.
It's a desert.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a desert. But I'm gonna actually use this as a transition point because I know you got to go soon anyway, right?
Mhm.
And when you got to go, just let me know, right?
5
But
minutes.
I'm gonna get to the super chats, right? I saw that one of the super chats is relevant to this, so that's why I think it's like a good like transition. Taker610, thank you for the super chat. Do you think if there are time travel elements in Prime 4, it takes us back to the events of previous games? So it's an interesting question for those that don't understand the context. Just recently, it's been leaked, the back box art for Metroid Prime 4, and the translations kind of mention something along the lines of Samus traversing space and time.
Mhm.
So that's having people wonder, oh, is there something to time travel? And now people are remembering the Kensuke Tanabe interview, the Prime 4 producer, from all the way back in 2015, where he talked about what he would want to do with the next Metroid Prime game. And he talked about how he would want a game centered around the story between Samus and Sylux, which that's already confirmed.
Mhm.
But he also lamented on the struggles with the Light and Dark World from Prime 2 and wanted to make another game having to do with going back and forth with time travel. And so we see that the back of the box art mentions time traversal. We've seen that interview has aged pretty well, at least in terms of the Sylux stuff. And we also know that the logo of the game is literally the shape of a black hole, right? Like, so clearly there's portals, like, so the whole space-time thing, like that, there are things here that seem to perhaps suggest that there could be some time traversal. Like, they even open up the game talking about the year. They do not do that in the introductions for Prime 1, 2, or 3, but they do it for Prime 4.
Cool.
Might be a relevant detail. And they just revealed this giant desert. The thing about deserts, they imply an ancient past. Oftentimes, the deserts are formed by oceans.
Mhm.
So, is there time travel in this game? I think chances are high that there's some form of time travel. I don't know if it's just story related or if it's literally gameplay related. If it's gameplay
It would
related,
have to be both.
I mean, if it's gameplay related, we could be looking at like a modern day Ocarina of Time kind of thing, which would be another hook, right? Like if
totally.
this that
Which could even be that's what the direct is about, right? We assume there's going to be a Prime 4 specific presentation.
Sure.
And that one thing I think is really weird about some of the way Nintendo has presented some of their games recently is waiting to reveal that hook until late in the marketing cycle. I remember like Tears of the Kingdom, we didn't know about any of the Ultra Hand stuff until like 2 months before the game came out. We knew about that game for like 6 years.
For
so
sure.
Weird.
And they still have the depths that weren't even confirmed until the game. Like we figured there was something there because we saw like a couple screenshots, right?
Yeah.
But or like panning shots, but like they didn't announce that until the game came out.
I think what we're landing on, and this is going to be the last point where I have to go, is that I think there's a great chance that Prime 4 is hiding something. I think it's probably that time travel stuff, and I think that will make it feel very ambitious and very unique and like really surprising. But because of that, I think, and I don't think this is smart, but I think Nintendo's going to hide it until reviews come out, right? And then people are like, "Ooh, we can't talk about this, but the game's got so much in store for you." Like that's what people were doing with the depths, right? When those reviews were happening. And so I think that's a bad idea because I think if the time travel's in the game, it would sell the game. But I think they want to be cheeky about it, which is, it'll help for reviews, but I think that's probably what's going to happen.
But I mean, it sounds like you do think there's probably going to be a Prime 4 Direct, though.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so there's got to be something there.
Yeah. I think it'll be more Viola stuff, right? It's like, what is the scope of that? Like, does the bike get new abilities? Do we explore multiple areas branching off of this core? Like these core areas, are there multiple open areas? Right? I think that is what you can focus on for the Direct to make it feel like new information.
Like I'm hoping that snow area, like we can eventually get Viola there.
I think probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that like to get to that area, there's like zip lines or something, so you might not be able to use Viola immediately. But that's kind of like the whole Metroid hook, right? Like you have to slowly unravel the world, obtain different power-ups and keys to progress further and find more. So, I know you got to go. So
yes,
I don't.
If you can plug my my channel after I mean I have to leave now, so
but guys, Tucker from Backlog Banter, his channel Backlog Banter is linked in the description below, and his Twitter is there as well, so make sure to check it out. But if there's anything else you want to add to that,
if you like developer interviews, I do weekly developer interviews, so I got a lot of those. All right,
check them out, guys.
Thank you very much for having me, Andres. Everyone, I hope
it's been a pleasure, bro.
Hope you enjoyed our chat. Bye,
Absolutely.
Everyone.
Let's do it soon. Bye. Cool. So, I don't like this setup. Give me a second here. There we go. I like it like that with the border. Anyway, now it's just me. It's just you guys and me, us together, talking about this stuff. Continuing with this super chat from Taker. Do you think that if there are time travel elements in Prime 4, it takes us back to the events of previous games? So, yeah, we talked about the time travel stuff, but we didn't talk about specifically your question yet, right? So, I think there's some interesting opportunity here to revisit an ancient past, right? And when we're talking about an ancient past, you could incorporate some things that maybe wouldn't be around, like maybe more Chozo, for example, right? Although it seems like the alien species that's around here is the Lamorn. So I don't know if the Chozo are related in some way. If there's a possibility there, right? It would also be cool if we learn like this is like the origin of like Ridley, right? Like what if we go back into the past and we see that this is where Ridley comes from or something like that? That could be cool. But the thing is, like, talking about going back to the events of previous games, in terms of space, right? Like, this doesn't take place on any prior Metroid planets. This is a new planet we've never explored before. And so because of that, I don't think we're going to literally revisit other planets. I think it's all taking place on Viros. That's my perspective. However, I will say this: if there are portals involved, right, and we're going to different planets and maybe even different places in space and different places in time, then it doesn't have to take place on one planet. There could be more, but I think the idea is to focus all the exploration on one planet. So I am skeptical that we're going to go back to like events from prior Prime games, right? But there could be some things about the past that have implications about just overall Metroid lore, like maybe stuff having to do with the Chozo, the Metroids, Ridley, space pirates. There are those possibilities if there's time travel. So that's what I think. And I do want to point something out, though. And I did make a video about the back of the box art last week, but we did get a better look at the box art recently. And I haven't talked about it in a video yet. It's just like a higher resolution. I think I showed it in a video 2 days ago, but it wasn't like a big talking point. I just used it as like, background. But yeah, this is a higher resolution version of the back of the box art, which I think is maybe important for your question. So this is the box art, right? I mean, it looks great. This is a Switch 2 version of it. And the reason why it's kind of a big deal that we're seeing a high resolution version of this is because the two screenshots that are new, we can see them a lot more clearly now, right? Like, I don't take away too much from this as I did before. I feel like we could basically tell that there was some sort of special Federation trooper with the yellow armor that's different, that takes place after the events of the opening to the game. Notice how Samus has the purple light on her shoulder, so she probably already has a psychic power. So this is probably already taking place on Viros. So this is a survivor outside of Samus from the Federation. Looking at this behind her, I still think this is matching like Lemoran architecture. However, I do feel like maybe this part could possibly be like a box or chest of some kind, or it could still be a door. Hard to say with 100% certainty, but yeah, there's nothing too crazy to take away from that one. We pretty much interpreted most of this already from the blurrier version. However, this we can see a lot more clearly now, and it's still basically what I thought it was, right? But you can see it more clearly, and it does kind of look like the room is filled with portals. And so the room is filled with portals. Is this a fast travel room? Could that be what this is? Like, this is a fast travel room that maybe ties into both space and time traversal. And so we could be going to different areas through these portals that are in different spaces and times. I assume all on the same planet, but not necessarily. So it's kind of interesting to think about that possibility. Yeah. Anyway, it's fun to think about. But let's move on. Crossover Dreamer with a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Kit, Krista, and I were wrong about new Ice Climber in January 2025. Maybe $20 Xmas Day or Q1 2026 Nintendo Direct Shadow Drop. Silk Song, 6 years, $20. I'm trying to understand the question. Are we talking about there being a new Animal Crossing game? No, let's say Animal Crossing, a new Ice Climber game. Man, that would be cool if there's a new Ice Climbers. I will say, hey, there is currently no announced game for January. I don't know if I would bet that it's Ice Climbers, but there is more than a snowball's chance in hell that Ice Climbers could be announced for January. Very subtle pun intended there, because Ice Climbers, ice, yeah, snow. There you go. Yeah. I don't know. I would love to see a new Ice Climbers. It doesn't have to be a big thing. If it could be like, just kind of like a smaller, like basically the same style of Ice Climbers, but like a modern version of it. That would be cool. I'd be all in on that. Could be a really fun platformer. Generic Rust with the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I think 3D Kirby and Luigi's Mansion 4 is next year. So I agree on the Luigi's Mansion 4 part. I am skeptical of 3D Kirby next year, just because we just got Kirby the Forgotten Land plus Star-Crossed World. That is literally new 3D Kirby content. I do think that it suggests that we have to wait a little bit more time for the next 3D Kirby. But I definitely think it's on the way. I think them putting out DLC for that is just another positive sign that they believe in Forgotten Land. I mean, Forgotten Land is one of the best selling Switch games, right? It's the best selling Kirby game. There's no way in my mind that they don't follow up Forgotten Land with a brand new sequel for Switch 2. I'm just not sure we see it next year. Maybe we see like that rumored Kirby Planet Robot remaster for next year. And then maybe 2027 or 2028, then we start talking about the new 3D Kirby game. The actual true follow-up to Forgotten Land. Luigi's Mansion 4, though, I think next year is... I mean, I thought it could have been this year, right? But that's not how things have unfolded. Next year, I feel really good about us seeing whatever it is that Next Level Games has been working on. And I gotta think that whatever it is that Next Level Games has been working on is Luigi's Mansion 4. So, yeah, they're overdue. They come out with a game every 3 years. They should have come out with a game this year based off the pattern, but obviously it's not coming out this year. Next year makes a lot of sense. George FT, thank you for the super chat. While I understand some people's concerns regarding hype games after the Direct, especially 3D Mario, the next big games will come when the teams are ready. The first Switch 1 Direct wasn't an all-timer. And yes, this is a good point, right? It's absolutely. And what I want to make clear about my perspective on the Direct, right? I'm not saying the Direct is bad. I just think the Direct is not the best Nintendo can offer. I don't think they're in a bad position at all. I think things are fine. I think they're doing well. But I do think there are bigger, better Directs down the road. I think there are bigger announcements Nintendo has. So, that's my stance on it. But, Nintendo did a good job of giving us dates for the holidays, right? You look at what's coming. Even though I feel like they missed a little bit with September, I feel like just a DLC drop is not really enough. It's not that big of a deal because the DLC is cool in Bonanza. And then Galaxy 1 Plus 2 come out October 2nd. Like, it's close enough. And as I said earlier, a few weeks later, we have Legend ZA. A few weeks later, then we have Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Then Kirby Air Riders. Then Metroid Prime 4. We have 5 huge games coming out within 3 months. I mean, actually, within almost 2 months, actually, right? So October 2nd to December 4th, we're going to see those games. That's essentially a 60-day period or something, like a 62-day period. We're about to be eating really good, right? Like we're in for a pretty exciting period of time here in terms of having quality new Nintendo stuff to play. And that's awesome. And it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a gap afterwards, between the rest of December and January. And Nintendo's going to, have all these other things announced for next year, right? With Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, Mario Tennis Fever, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. There's a few other, Tomodachi Life, Rhythm Heaven. I don't know when Pokopia is coming out, but there are things, right? And I assume most of that comes out in the first half. Maybe Fire Emblem gets pushed into like later summer. But yeah, like we already have like a decent lineup. Nintendo they have like a lot of the smaller stuff. They need to fill it in with 1 or 2 big hitters, but that time will come. Like there's probably going to be at least one big hitter announced in the next General Direct, which I assume wouldn't be until February. I also think, to further explain another video I made a couple days ago, I talked about that we may still have not seen the most peak Direct of the year. That's about Metroid Prime 4. That's me talking about the Metroid Prime 4 Direct. Like, I as a Metroid Prime fan, I think we could get a Metroid Prime 4 Direct, and I think it may be the most exciting presentation of the year, just because we get to see Metroid Prime 4 in full, and I think Metroid Prime 4 is very arguably going to be the best Nintendo game of the year. So to me, that's possibly the most exciting presentation. But yes, things are fine. The Direct is good. I just think it's only good, not great, because there are better things. There are better presentations that could be had, but we have plenty of things to play and enjoy and look forward to. So I'm caught up on the super chats. How long have we been going for? It's getting late. been live for an hour 40. They did the thing where they it's just this weird update. I'm just leaving it as is. Whatever. I was talking about the border thing. I'm coming back to the chat here, the live chat. Let's see if I can find more things to discuss. So, guys, I'm closing out with just Q&A, right? So if there's anything you want me to talk about, or questions or theories, at me, send them to me now. I'll try and cover a few before I call it a night. Connor asks me, do you think in the February Direct in 2026 could we see a triple deluxe plus Planet Robot pack for Switch with amiibos for both Taranza and Susie? What you think? My thought process is that I don't think it's over for Planet Robobot. There's typically at least one Kirby announcement per year. Now, we will be coming off both Forgotten Land Switch 2 Edition and Kirby Air Riders, but I do think that there's a high chance we see more Kirby announcements in the February Direct. If not, maybe a summer Direct, but I still expect there to be Kirby announcements, and I wouldn't be surprised if Planet Robot Remastered. I don't know if they would include Triple Deluxe, but if they do, yeah, maybe that would come, it could maybe in a February Direct. Let's see here. Having hope. Can we see Ruby? Yes, you can see Ruby. I wonder if she'll come if I call her. Ruby! Ruby, where are you? She's probably sleeping in the living room. Ruby! If I sound worried, she might come. She's not going to come. She's a cat. She comes sometimes, but she's a cat. Give me a second. Let me get her. It'll take me like 5 seconds. One momento. That's just blank screen. Hold on. Okay. Whoa. Don't jump. Don't leave. No. Hold on. Come back. Okay. Don't leave yet. Hold on. All right. There she is. She jumped off my shoulder because she thought I was going to give her food. She ran into the kitchen. I do normally give her, wet food late at night before I go to bed. Hey. Does anyone have questions for Ruby? Let's see. LP Atsy, what will the Zelda game be next year if Ocarina of Time Remake isn't till 2027? So I would say that if we don't get an Ocarina of Time Remake next year, it would be because it would be another remake. But let's say we're not getting any sort of ambitious remake, and I think it's too far off for like a 3D Zelda game that isn't a remake, right? Then I would say I think there's a possibility for like a Four Swords kind of thing, right? Like I think there's a possibility for that. Twilight Princess HD, I don't honestly, I still see people talking about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD, but with the inclusion of Wind Waker to NSO, I don't see a Wind Waker coming out anytime soon, and I feel like just dropping Twilight Princess HD as is doesn't make that much sense in my opinion. That said, if we're talking about celebrating Zelda's 40th anniversary, if we want to do like a Zelda collection, maybe you can throw in Twilight Princess there, possibly Wind Waker again, but the Wind Waker HD version, right? The Wii U version. So, that's possible. But I would I think Four Swords is kind of like my thing. I guess the Zelda collection would make sense. Yeah, like the more I think about it, like some kind of Zelda collection for the 40th anniversary would make sense. That would probably sell pretty well. It would be minimal effort. We're not talking about like enhanced, really like barely enhanced. So, I would say that look at Galaxy 1 and 2. That's your standard. So that's how I would say. I have like hairs here. Yeah. See here, Joe asks me, will the Switch eventually surpass PS2 lifetime sales after it wraps up? And when do you think it will end support? Good question. So recently Sony has I think they're now saying that the PS2 has sold 160 million plus. It used to be like 155 million plus, right? So some people think that Sony added a plus because once the Switch catches up, they're gonna be like, oh, we actually sold 162 million or something. I'm assuming that they're basically at 160. I don't think they're going to continue to add like 5 million every couple of years just to keep distance from Switch. I really doubt that. I don't know why they would lie. First off, it doesn't make any sense. It would have zero. I don't think it has much impact on them. I really don't. I don't see the purpose of that. Also, we've seen data to suggest the projections, right? Like of around where PS2 sold. That said, Switch 1 sales lifetime. I'm trying to remember. I feel like the last time I looked, it was 154, but it might be higher already. Let me double check. 153 million, apparently. On the Nintendo's official site, they are saying the Switch 1 has sold 153.1 million as of June 30th, 2025. So can Switch get to 160 million? And my answer is yes. I do think it can get there. The interesting thing to consider here is just that we're seeing prices go up for Switch right now because of this economic climate we're in. But they haven't had a price drop yet. So as long as they continue to sell Switch for a few more years and we get to a point where they can actually have a price drop, they're guaranteed to get over 160 million. Guaranteed. Now, maybe Nintendo doesn't care about that. I mean, and I don't think they should care. Like, you should just care about, selling well, right? So whatever that means. But yes, I would say it's pretty safe to think the Switch will sell over 160 million. Now, in terms of when Nintendo will stop selling Switches, it's tough to say for sure. I want to say they're probably going to still release some games for Switch for at least another year. What's surprising is just how much they've actually kind of not supported the Switch throughout this year. They're going to release 5 games, publish 5 games for Switch this year, I guess, right? Physical games. Donkey Kong Returns HD, Xenoblade, then we're getting Galaxy 1+2, Metroid Prime 4, and Pokemon Legends EA. So, I guess there is the Pokemon Friends thing. So it's not that much. But for next year, we know about Tomodachi Life. We know about Rhythm Heaven. I believe Mario Tennis, Fire Emblem are switched to exclusives. Pokopia is a switch to exclusive. I think outside of Galaxy 1 and 2, I don't remember them announcing any exclusive Switch 1 titles. There are still third-party stuff that's coming out for Switch 2. So yeah, I think if, for example, if there's a Zelda collection for the 40th anniversary, I think that would come out for Switch 1 as well. Or a Four Swords well, the Four Swords, it kind of depends on what it is. If it's a new Four Swords game, it could be an exclusive. Anyway, so there'll be a few more games that come out for Switch 1 next year, but not much more. I would say they're probably still sell Switch 1 for a couple more years at least. 2 to 3, maybe more. Like until like Switch 2 is like it really just comes down to how much Switch 1 is selling. Like how like is it selling enough to the point where it feels worthwhile for Nintendo to, invest the resources to be pushing it. And I would say they're probably going to still it for another couple of years. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can ever get to the point where they can have a price drop or announce a revision of Switch 1 that's cheaper, and it's a cheaper version. Like somehow, some way, I think Nintendo needs to find a way to get Switch out there at a cheaper price point. And so until that happens, I feel like there's plenty of opportunity for Switch to continue to sell for a while. So I would say at least 2 to 3 years, Switch 1 will be on the market. Possibly more. I missed this question. Connor, what is Ruby's opinion on the cat suit power-up from 3D World? It's before her time. She was not alive when that came out, so she doesn't even know about it. I think someone asked me how old Ruby is. I missed who asked that question. Let me see if I can find. I don't know who asked. Someone asked me how old Ruby is. I saw it, but I don't know who, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the chat, but I just can't find it. Let's see. Trying to find who asked how old Ruby is. Oh, Brooke Barnes. Ruby was born. Let's see. Ruby was born December 2021. So we are approaching her 4th birthday, right? Like she's going to turn 4 this upcoming December. So she's 3 and many months. Charlie Gray, I appreciate all your content, bro. Any news on Call of Duty coming to Switch? So thank you. I appreciate that. All we've gotten is that Black Ops 7 reportedly will not be coming out for Switch 2 at launch. That's it. That said, I do think Call of Duty is going to come to Switch 2 because it has to come to Switch 2 because Microsoft is legally obligated to make it happen. But also, we've seen that Switch 2 can absolutely run a variety of third-party games. I think what the holdup is right now is that they want to make sure Call of Duty is running right. I wouldn't be, maybe I'm crazy for thinking this, but I wouldn't be totally surprised if they're trying to get like a custom version of Call of Duty running, like they're customizing their Call of Duty engine for Switch 2, so they can run Call of Duty well, and perhaps this is the maybe crazy part, but I'm not sure, at 60 frames per second. That's just speculation, right? I don't know. No one's told me anything. That's what I'm led to think, right? Like the only reason why they wouldn't have announced anything yet is just because they are working on getting it right. And I think that it makes a lot of sense because Call of Duty is a big series, but Call of Duty coming back to Nintendo after so many years is going to be a big moment. And Switch 2 is proving to be a platform that is actually good for third-party support, despite what some people on the internet would lead you to believe, right? Like we've already seen multiple games looking and running well for Switch 2. Now, have we seen games running at 60 FPS that are from big, ambitious third parties? No. And so maybe that's a good reason to think that Call of Duty would not be 60 FPS on Switch 2. But if they're really taking their time here, they're really trying to create a custom engine, maybe it could be done. I would like to point out that there was, once upon a time, they had a dedicated team on the Nintendo Wii making Call of Duty. It's like they made a different version of Call of Duty, like different graphics and stuff to run on Nintendo Wii. So I wonder if they're kind of thinking about doing something like that again, where they're going to have a dedicated team to make the Switch 2 version, or at least they're kind of working on just kind of like a Call of Duty engine, so that way they can continue to put out Call of Duty consistently for Switch 2 for years to come. Like it's not just about the one Call of Duty game, right? It's just Call of Duty is an annual series, so it's about getting Call of Duty to be right, just moving forward for the rest of the Switch 2 era and presumably beyond. which is years, right? There's years of games. So right now it's kind of a little frustrating, but come 2026, I think there's no more room for excuses. Sketches of Harmony added me. I sent you a video on X of my AI rough interpretation of the dual screen patent. Curious about your thoughts. I expect it to be an NSL alternative device once DS 3DS arrive. So I'll make sure to check that out later. But I will tell you, I think you're on the money. Like we look at what they just did with Virtual Boy, right? Like they're just like, hey, here's the Virtual Boy again, and here's a cheaper alternative. So I think that there may be a device later down the road that they allow you to connect to your Switch 2 for DS, 3DS, NSO. The tricky part is Virtual Boy is like niche, right? Like not a lot of people are going to pick up Virtual Boy, right? It's not that big of a deal. DS, 3DS, on the other hand, is a bigger deal. So how do you go about providing a peripheral that isn't that expensive to get people on board? Like, are they just going to have like another $100 like attachment that gives you a second screen for Switch 2 so you can play DS, 3DS games? They may just do that, but I feel like they have to have a cheaper alternative. So I wonder, and maybe I gotta take a look at that patent, right? But I wonder if maybe they could, like, for example, think of like how like integrating your phone, you know. And what they do is they just have like an attachment. Maybe it's like a USB-C attachment, so it has good latency. It also holds it next to your Switch 2, so you can play it with dual screen gameplay, you know, something like that. Or maybe it could connect to a Pro controller or both. That way you could have one screen, like the bottom touch screen, right, and then you still have the top screen, kind of like how it worked on Wii U. So I think just really using Smones is probably the smart way to do it. Just release some sort of plastic attachment to connect your phone to your controller or Switch 2. But yeah, I think seeing the Virtual Boy stuff, Nintendo absolutely can introduce a peripheral to make another NSO platform work. Sketches of Harmony. I expect Switch 2 to go on for 4+ years, and that may be. I mean, I know Sony sold PS2 for several years after, right? So they really could. Like, I really don't see why not. Like, it has so much momentum. So as long as it makes sense for Nintendo to continue to push it, I think they will. The question mark man asks, "Hey Andres, did you ever see that Mario Galaxy Rosalina photo leak?" I did, and I'm pretty sure we know it's fake. I will show you, and I'm not worried about sharing this because I don't think it's a real leak. Not the kind of leak that would, get the video taken down or the live stream. So looking here, I found it earlier. Okay. Yeah, here we go. All right, so check this out. Share screen. So there you go. Not to spoil the fun, but someone from a server I'm in just decided to leak my fan model. So yeah, it's been leaked, right? Going to this thread, I think we scroll up, we see, I think this is probably the Rosalina thing you're talking about, right? People thought this might be real. It looks good, right? And there was all this stuff here. And it's fakeable. It's a lot of fakeable stuff. And it looks like someone just stole the model made by Avovet 3D. And yeah, Avovet pointed it out. So there you go. Probably fake because the model has been made by a fan. Yeah. I was curious though. I definitely saw it at first. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Sketches of Harmony. I agree that Resident Evil 9 is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a day and date title. It looks like a good running version on Switch 2. That's another example of the future of like third-party support on Switch 2. I'm actually excited for it, and I may just pick it up on Switch 2. We'll see how, when we get more updated looks at the game on the platform, but I might just pick up the Switch 2 version. Anyway, last question. LP asks me, would you like it if an Ocarina of Time remake gets a Warriors game focused on Sheik and the stages during the 7-year gap? So this is an interesting question. It's something I thought about putting into my Age of Imprisonment analysis video a few days ago, but I just didn't. Maybe it could be its own video later down the road, but there is still potential to have other Warriors games that kind of go over the various wars in Hyrule history. So there's the Hyrulean Civil War, right? They could make a Warriors game based off that, which is basically a war about the events leading up to Ocarina of Time. But then to your point, they could also do one based off what happened during the 7-year gap. That would be interesting. Like a Sheik-based game during the 7-year gap. It would have a very similar... Yeah, it would have a similar feel to what's going on with Age of Imprisonment now, right? Very similar framework there. You know, Sheik as opposed to Zelda, and then Rauru and the Sages. You have Rauru and the Sages as well. Like, there is something to that idea. The only issue with that idea is that the Sages don't become the Sages, don't realize they are the Sages until Link comes back. Like, they realize they're the Sages afterwards. So the Sages are not together, and they're years away from realizing their destiny during the gap of time, right? If something we're talking about earlier in the gap. So that's kind of one kind of plot issue there. That said, Link, you know, is not around for very long after the events of Ocarina of Time. So there can be... I want to double check something here because there is... This part's interesting. Wars in Zelda. I believe there is a war. It might just be called the Imprisoning War, which is already happening in Age of Imprisonment. But there is a war that takes place after the events of Ocarina of Time. Like you know, like I'm a little confused. I gotta double check my Zelda timeline stuff. But there is an imprisoning war. Zelda timeline. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. So looking at this, I'm gonna screen share. It's not very big. I want a higher resolution image. It's still not very big. Oh, this looks better. Yeah, this is better. Okay, let me screen share with you guys real quick. All right, so after the events of Ocarina of Time, right? There's the Sealing War. That's the war I was trying to remember. So they could have a Warriors game that's based off the Sealing War, right? And it's not totally clear on the timeline of things here, right? Like, could they make the Sealing War about... this is when the heroes defeated. So they could have a... And what's interesting is that they do like to have Warriors games based off, you know, bad, sad events, right? The Calamity, Imprisonment. So the Sealing War is something like that. So I think there could be a Warriors game based off the Sealing War, or the Hyrule Unification War, right? Like, these are two wars where there could be a Warriors game. There's also the Interloper War. So there's the Shadow Invasion, right? So there could be something there. Yeah, so there's some events in Hyrule history that they can make another Warriors game on, for sure. mean, hey, they could even come up with other wars, right? Like the events for the Wind Waker, like they could have a Warriors game that's based off the Great Flood, and the people of Hyrule trying to fend off the Great Flood, and they fail. And what's interesting is that the Sealing War, having something take place over here, right? Or even like, I mean, this one Link's alive, so that's a little different. But if they could have a Warriors game or multiple Warriors games based off events following Ocarina of Time, which is it's interesting to think about. Anyway, yeah. Nico Spoon, a war on the ceiling? What is the game? For Rito? You bet. I did say that was the last question, but I guess I'm reading a couple more. Connor, would a Kirby Triple Deluxe plus Red Robot pack be like the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 pack and being $70? If there was a pack, I would bet it would be at least $70, yes. At least. Maybe just 70. Let's just I don't think they would go for 80. It would be $70, yeah. Dave D, do you think they'll have issues with third-party developers? A lot less than Switch 1. No, I mean, I feel like the biggest issue right now is just the whole game key card thing. So a lot of devs are just opting for that, or the 64 GB cartridge is either not big enough or it's too expensive for a lot of devs. So, yeah. Outside of that, I don't really think there's gonna be much issues for devs on Switch 2. We're seeing a lot of games that are already running and looking good on Switch 2. I think that will only get better over time. Anyway, with that all said, thank you everyone for watching the stream. Likes are appreciated. If you're new here, subscribe. I talk about Nintendo basically every day. But I'll see you all really soon. Take care, guys. Bye.